back to the class, everyone. Today we have a more fun video that is just going to be speculation on all of Jabba's requirements. We recently got notified that Galactic Legend Jabba the Hutt is going to be entering in the game. With that, we were actually given a ton of info about his requirements, including 5 of them specifically spelled out for us. But we were given info on the other ones as well, so purpose of this video isn't to go and relic all these characters or anything like that, but it's just kind of to poke fun and to see a little bit how right we can get it, or how just far off we are. So please let me know in the comments as well what characters you guys think we're going to be getting for Jabba, as well as which one CG is going to require us to relic up even higher, or just relic in general for this character. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So the first thing that we'll get out of the way is this is the first set. This is what CG has already confirmed. They've already confirmed Chrysanthemum, Han Solo, Greedo, and Gamguard are all going to be Rex. And they actually put Gamguard at Relic 3, which I thought was really weird considering Lord Vader didn't have a single Relic 3. Although this video isn't about this, but I do have the suspicion that he's not going to be, Jabba is going to be a tier lower than Lord Vader and JMK. He's going to be more so on maybe a C level of things, but we don't need to get into that. So that's going to be his first level of Rex. And before we get into all these others, I do want to address the question of the fact that most of his Rex, or at least I think the beef of his Rex, is going to be new characters, because they kind of flat out told us that's what it was going to be. They told us that he's on par with the Galactic Legend, is primarily designed to work with other Hutt cartel units. His first requirements, they've already got them listed out here. They'll be supporting him. Chrysanthemum will be one of several upcoming marquee characters that directly support this new faction tag, and these marquee units will be requirements for Jabba the Hutt while working exceptionally well with Jabba as the leader. So you guys saw that I already had some Rex picked out on the screen before, but I want to talk about the characters I think were coming to the game first. So that being said, we already have Chrysanthemum, and there's an interesting comment here, and this is going to come back, but maybe before we do that, let's talk about 2 characters who I think are going to be very likely to come along Chrysanthemum as really characters that Jabba can't really exist without. And the first one is going to be Bib Fortuna. This one, I just don't know how you can have Jabba the Hutt without Bib Fortuna. He's such an iconic character that goes along with him. He's super annoying and sleazy and terrible, but it's a character that goes along with him, and I can see him having a very functional support role, where he could have a lot of buffs kind of behind the scenes that boost Jabba and boost the bounty hunters to be able to do what they actually need to do. We kind of already have the tank in things, and I'm assuming that the other ones of these are going to be attackers. But we really could use a support there. Maybe he could have some type of function with translation as well, where he gives translation to Jabba, and for every stack of translation Jabba gets, he gets some type of buff that he gives to everyone else. I don't know. I think there's a lot of room to be worked there. And the other character, and this is one we've actually already talked about on this channel before, is going to be the Rancor Tamer or Holder or whatever his name is. We've already talked about his kit a little bit here when we've talked about characters we want to see in the game. I think it'd just be a really cool design to take a lot of the animations we already have with the Rancor in game and actually let the player use them. So he could use abilities that would give the team protection up via the Rancor, or he could actually do like really, really big powerful hits, or maybe have something kind of like BB-8 does, or have a really long cooldown where the Rancor gets to eat one of the other characters, but it starts at like 100, and you have to not hit him for him to be able to get there. Something kind of wacky like that. But that to say, there are those 2 characters, and there's one that I am really excited for, and I really hope I'm not wrong, and I probably am. But I want to pick out something once again in the message they sent us here. I'm going to go ahead and take these 2 guys down. But they specifically said that Jabba is going to not only be working with bounty hunters, but he's going to be working with smugglers. I found this to be really, really, really strange in here, because he's supposed to have synergy with both of these, and I'm like, at first glance, I was like, okay, that's not that big of a deal. You know, he works with Han Solo, like lore-wise, that kind of makes sense, or rather, Han Solo works for him. But at the same time, what I found was really, really suspicious is when I went and pulled up the Hutt cartel members, there isn't a single smuggler in here. Not one of these has retroactively been given the tag. There's no Chewbacca, there's no Han Solo, there's no young Han. No one in here is a smuggler. They're all either bounty hunters or scoundrels. Well, actually, they're all scoundrels, but they're either bounty hunters or just nothing other than scoundrel. So I'm starting to think here, right, what smuggler is a really big deal in the game, who's dark side, who could be considered to be working with the Hutt cartel, who doesn't really have a home in the game, that we've all been asking for a really long time. And that's when I came across this. Hondo Onaka. If you look up his Wikipedia page, like I did, or Wikipedia, whatever it's called, Hondo Onaka was actually a slave for Portla the Hutt on Bunta, for a while. So he could easily be considered a part of the Hutt cartel, and he would kind of fill that last piece of the team where you would have a smuggler working alongside the Hutt cartel, and it would finally be a way for him to come to the game and have a place. Because one of the big things that I've always kind of thought whenever people have been like, oh, we have to have Hondo in the game, like, okay, where does he go? We don't have a pirate faction. There's no other pirates in the game. He would just end up being some really awkward scoundrel. Or like, do we really want another scoundrel, like, B team in the game, like Bam or Dash? Like, I love Bam and Dash, but I don't want another one. And this is a really cool opportunity for him to actually be meta, for him to work alongside of a galactic legend. And I don't think he's meant to be, let's say, Cat to JMK, but maybe something like Hux to SLKR. Like, that's still a really big deal. And he could have, like I said, he would have the Hutt cartel faction because of his technical lore relation that he does have. So those are the three characters, if I had to guess, are going to be brought to the game to be reused as requirements and on his team. That being said, there are still other shoes to fill. So I have 4 characters here. First off, Boba Fett, and everybody's immediately wondering why we have Boba Fett here when he's already required R8 for Executor. When I think Jabba the Hutt, I think Boba Fett. He's the one who works with them the most, at least within the films. And at the same time, I don't know anybody who's doing this. So, and we've already seen Radis be an R9 requirement for his own ship. I could easily see them jacking up Boba to be an R9 for Jabba the Hutt. It would still be a push for everyone. Because I don't know a lot of people that are doing. He's not a tank. He doesn't gain any special buff from protection. He's not a galactic legend that gets a bunch of buffs for having relic levels. I think it's easily something they could do, and it would fit lore. Next up is Mob Enforcer. You always have to have a few worthless characters for Rex. We've all had to gear up Krennic for C if you have C. We've all had to gear up Rose for Rey if you have Rey. That being said, there's got to be some losers. We already have Gamguard. I think they can get away with Mob Enforcer at R3 as well. She's got the Hutt cartel tag, and at the end of the day, it's something they can make money off of, because besides the ultimate super Krakens, not a lot of people have this girl anywhere beyond, what is this, Gear 8? Next up, Aurra Sing. Aurra Sing is one of the very few bounty hunters that are not required for anything right now. She does have a little bit of relation with the Hutt. She has worked for Jabba on other moments, and while she is a good character, as you can see, not everyone has her relic because she's not really required for anything at the end of the day. And a very large percentage of the bounty hunters are required for things. Next up is Lando. I don't think this is probably one of the ones I'm least willing to bet on. I think that they're going to probably try to pull in one more scoundrel from somewhere. Or maybe another rebel character. I don't think they'll do Jedi Knight Luke or something like that. But some character that was on the opposite side that had a strong relationship, very similar to Han Solo. So maybe they do a young Lando, because less people will have that. But again, they could make you use OG Lando from R5, and you have to pump him up to R8. Very similar to what they did with Han Solo. Last grouping of requirements outside, again, of the 3 that we talked at the beginning that I think will be coming to the game. Cad Bane. Cad Bane is very similar to the last rec, is someone that they could put all the way up at R8. I have seen some people doing that, but I think the optimal turn order kind of messes with everyone doing that. So they could definitely pump up his number. He had a lot of stuff going on with Jabba in the Clone Wars. There is a very strong relation there. Chewbacca kind of fits into the same category as Lando and Han. He's already a rec for another galactic legend, but at the same time, you make this R8, and then it becomes a lot more attractive. Attractive to CG, that is. They could do some other really obscure rebel or something like that. Maybe Farm Boy Luke, who was in the same facility. I know they would have had to have some connection while on Tatooine together. It's a bit of a stretch, but I think we're at what? Is that our 5th character that was already, people already have at Relics via something else? I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's 5. That's probably a bit much. I think I've got something wrong there. But the last requirement is just going to be a generic Jawa. Basically, love the mods there. Basically because they can get away with it for this character. Jabba is kind of the head honcho on Tatooine, at least for a lot of it. Jawas are natives. That's a connection. I guess they could do, maybe instead of Jawa, maybe one of the other Tuskens, help people fill out that team, or maybe one of the different Jawas. But I think that they're going to, this is what it's going to be a mix of. I think Jabba's requirements are going to be 1/3 new characters, which is, that part is pretty much confirmed, actually. 1/3 is going to just be other characters we already have Relic. They're just needed to take higher. We saw this a lot with Lord Vader. He needed Tarkin. That was already, people already had it Relics for Seed, just needed to be higher. And the last one is just going to be characters that mostly no one has that are going to need to go right up to Relics. That would be Jawa, Mob Enforcer, Gamguard, and Greedo. So that is pretty much going to do it for today. Let me know which characters you think are just never going to happen, which ones you think will be required for Jabba, and let me know if you guys are psyched for a possible Hondo. That is going to be it for today, guys. Remember to like and subscribe, and as always, stay awesome.